Good to see you this morning. I am glad that you are here. I'm thankful to see all of you this morning. You know, as we planned for Christmas as a staff and as leaders of the church, we went back and forth about what to do. You know, a lot of churches decided that they were not going to hold services on Sunday morning, and just because they felt like, you know, a lot of people weren't going to show up, and we condensed down to one service, and we almost don't have enough room in here. And so I'm thankful that you're here today, and like Garrett said, gosh, where else would you be, right? And so this is a good place to be this morning with our church family. And I know some of you have brought extended family in here this morning, and we're glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome. All right, so kids in the house this morning, right? Amen. I'm glad of that. So don't worry about any crying kids or anything. You can make noise, all right? No problem here, all right? No crying adults, though. We're not going to have any of that. So my question for the kids is, how was this morning? All right, did you get something good for Christmas? Did you, kids? Did you get something good? Best Christmas ever? Sweet. Who got something really good? Raise your hand if you got something really good. All right, awesome. Now, over the course of my life, there have been a lot of big things that I wanted for Christmas, some really big presents that I wanted. One was a very special bike that I got one year, a Mongoose with red mag wheels. It was pretty sweet bike. Other Christmases, I really wanted all wrestling ring so I could put my Hulk Hogan and my Andre the Giant in it and body slam them, you know, and got that awesome Christmas one year. But one that I remember in particular was the year that the NES came out, the Super Mario Brothers, on Nintendo. And so this is old technology for most of you guys, but it was Nintendo, and I really wanted, I'd played it at somebody else's house and really wanted it. It's all I wanted, Santa to bring me that year so I could play Super Mario Brothers. And so I felt like, and I didn't feel like I was good enough to get it, but I felt like Santa's a nice guy, and so maybe he'll bring it to me anyway. And this year we lived in this kind of townhouse thing, and my bedroom was kind of in a loft kind of area where I could see down into the living room where the Christmas tree was. And I thought this year I got the first opportunity to see down and I might even see Santa himself, right? So I would get up during the night and I would look down there to check and see if if anything was different or if my Nintendo was there. Has Super Mario arrived, And but the problem was, you look down there, it's all dark, right? Everything's dark. You can't see what's there. Nothing looks different to me. But I keep getting up like every hour and looking down there and seeing, and I don't see anything. Nothing looks different. And I wish I had a flashlight so I could, but I might get caught. So anyway, I get up again. I look. I get up again. I look, and then finally I get up, and there's a little bit of light coming through the window. The sun is starting to come up, and so things look a little bit different now. All right, I can kind of see something by the tree, but I don't know what it is. And so I go lay down for a minute and get back up, and there's already more light, right? Because, as the sun comes up and it brings light in, you can kind of see what's happening. And so it changes. So now I see a little shape of some things down there, something over here, something over there that I didn't really notice before. And there's some definition. Some of those shapes is starting to pop out. I can see some things going there, but I can't quite tell what it is. And I'm trying to figure out, is it early enough for me to go down and wake mom up, right? And so then I go lay down for another second, and then I get up, and there's more light coming in, and I can see it, right? I can see it. It is Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, right? Including Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, all right? All right. I'm stoked, right? I'm stoked. See, this morning, I want to read you a passage of Scripture, all right? And in the Bible, we have 4 books of the Bible that are all about what Jesus' life was here on the earth. We call them the Gospels or the good news, all right? Gospel is just a Bible word that means good news. And so Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are all about the good news of what Jesus did when he was here on the earth, all right? And so you have the stories of his birth in Matthew and Luke, and then there is a story of his arrival or his coming or about the beginning of Jesus' time here on the earth in the book of John, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And it says this. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. Listen to this. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. Now, there's a couple of things that the Bible calls Jesus here. First of all, it calls him the Word, all right? And it says that he was with God from the very beginning. And it says that he is the life, right? And he is the light. Jesus is the light. Now, John is looking back to the Old Testament book of Genesis, the very first book of the Bible, and he's kind of playing into those verses that are there in the very beginning. Do you remember those first verses of the Bible? It says, in the beginning, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And you know what? Before God created the heavens and earth, it says it was dark. It was dark. Are any of you afraid of the dark? No. No, not afraid of the dark? Anybody back? You got a few afraid of the dark? All right, I used to be a little afraid of the dark. So before God made everything, it says that it was dark. But you know what God said? What did God say? Let there be light, right? And there was light. Now go back to 1 John. It says, in the beginning was the Word. Now he's actually talking about Jesus. All right? He's actually talking, when he says the word, and we know because he's going to go on, he's going to describe that word, and he's going to be talking about Jesus, all right? And so he says, in the beginning was the Word, and everything that was made in the world was made by him, through him, for him, all right? And he is the light, right? And so you put all that together and you think, wow, right back there at the very beginning of everything, when there was darkness, Jesus was there with God. And God said, let there be light. Now, light is wonderful, right? It comes into a dark place and it drives out the darkness. In fact, that's what John goes on to say here. He says, the light shines in the darkness and the darkness has not overcome it, right? The darkness can't overcome light, can it? Now, you think, if you're in a very dark place, imagine you're in such a dark place. You're down in a cave somewhere where there's no light at all. Like, imagine we were in here and all the lights went out. Do it. Do it. Can you do it? We're just not sure we can get them back on. Tom's not here today. All right? So, not that would be any guarantee it would work right. All right? So imagine there's no light, right? You can't even see your hand in front of your face. Now, how much light would it take to just completely change that situation? Just a tiny little bit. Just a little flashlight on your phone, which isn't that powerful, right? Right? Or just a little match. Or just a little light like on one of these trees here. Just the tiniest little light would completely change everything right there in front of you, right? It would change. You could see your hand. You could see what's right there in front of you. And then if you had a little bit bigger light, it would change things. It would make it, you could see more in the place that you were at. If this place was dark, right? If this place was dark and we began to bring the lights up slowly, or we began to light up these lights one at a time, I would begin to see you people, and then I would begin to see the rows back and further back, and then eventually I would begin to see all of your beautiful smiling faces, right? And see the details and know which ones you were and remember things about you, and it would bring fullness. It would bring fullness to our experience. In fact, that's what John says here. He says, the true light that gives light to everyone is coming into the world. It is Jesus who comes to give us light into the world. It says that the world, when he came, the world did not recognize him. The world did not recognize him. Now, it's hard for us to imagine that if we were in the darkness and somebody brought us light to help show the way, or to help us enjoy the things that we have, it's hard to imagine that we wouldn't be thankful for that light. But the Bible says, and really we know this to be true, that some people, even though Jesus comes and brings truth and light into their lives, that they push him away, that they reject that they hold on to the darkness. Now, the reason is because we are afraid that Jesus wants to come in and control our lives. He wants to take control, and we're afraid he wants to take something from us, even if it's just the control. But what Jesus wants to do is he wants to come and bring light into our lives. In the dark places where you can't see to even enjoy the people around you, or you're blinded by the darkness to stumble and to fall over the things that would hurt you in this life. You've experienced that in your own relationships and in your own life. Jesus wants to bring light to that, a light to your path, a light to your life. But some people push him away. Some people push him away. But he says this, he came to those, even those who did not receive him initially. He says, yet to all who receive him, to those who believe in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. He gave the right to become the children of God. Now that's pretty strong. That Jesus doesn't just come to show a light and to show you the way, but he actually comes to bring this light into your life that's actually going to bring you into his family. Now, I asked you who was afraid of the dark, right? And we have a few people who are afraid of the dark. What helps when you're afraid of the dark? Right? A light, right? Now, do any of you make your parents leave all the lights on in your bedroom? No? All right. How about just a little night light? Just a little night light? How many of you have a little night light? Okay. Ooh, all right, got a lot of little night lights in the room. All right, that's okay. That's okay. Now, you know what? I noticed that even with a little night light, right? Even with a little night light, unless all the lights are on real bright, a little night light, there's still these shadows, and you can't quite see things that you know. I know there's a chair in that corner. I know I hung all my dirty clothes on it, right? But now it looks like a monster, right? Just because it's just dark and there's just a little bit of light, and that looks like a giant mouth, right? And it's gonna pounce at me, right? Just a little bit of light is helpful, but sometimes there's still shadows in there, right? Things that we wish we could see more. So we want mom, dad to turn all the lights on. Let's turn all the lights on. Let's see everything in here. But you know what's even better? You know what's even better than them turning all the lights on? How many of you who are afraid of the dark, how many of you, after you see something or you hear something at night and you're not sure what it is, how many of you go and get in the bed with your parents? All right? When I was a little boy, I liked to get in bed with my meemaw. All right? I like to sleep with my meemaw. How many of you have a meemaw? Or a mawmaw? Or a oompa? Huh? How many of you got, all right, a nanny or something like that? Boy, meemaws are great to climb into bed with, all right? My meemaw was a wonderful, sweet woman, and she was big and squishy, and she was great. I'd go and I'd get in the bed with her, and she'd tuck me down kind of back behind her, and so I could hide in there. And sometimes at night, if my dad made me go up to my bedroom, I'd have to sneak down in the middle of the night and go get in bed with Meemaw. I think I've told y'all this. I said, Meemaw, can I get in bed with you? She said, come on, baby, come on. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Tucked up next to Meemaw, better than a light. All right? I don't need to see what's out there. I don't need to see what's going on. I don't need to worry about what's in the corner over there, what's coming down the hallway, because I got Meemaw, right? See, what Jesus does for us, it is a light into the dark place, but it's more than that. It's even better. See, he says to all who receive him, those who believe in his name, he gives a right to become a child of God. He didn't come to just show a light into your world so you could see which way to go, but he came to be with you as you go through life. Came to be with you as you go through life. It says this here. It says, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Out of his fullness, we have received grace in place of grace already given. We don't just have a little light shining in the darkness. We have God himself, who at the beginning of all time said, let there be light, and created everything. He doesn't just come in to kind of show us the way or be a good example, but he says, to all who will receive him, you will be his child. He's not going to give you a flashlight and send you on your way, but he's going to tuck you right up beside him, and he is going to go with you. In the fullness of who God is, Jesus is here to be with you. And so he says, do you just believe and receive? Because I want to be with you to show you the way, to be with you along the way. In the book of John, 1 John, later on in the Bible, it's the same writer. He says, in God there is no darkness at all. In Revelation, which also written by John, he says that in God's kingdom, there'll be no need for sun because Jesus will be the light there. That's who wants a relationship with you. That's who wants to walk through life with you, is Jesus. He wants to show you the places where you could stumble. He wants to show you the true beauty in your marriage and in your relationships with your children, what it really can be, what it really should be. He wants to show you the awesome future you have, kids. The awesome future that's out in front of you. He wants to show you that. And more than anything, he wants to show you that he loves you. And he wants to be right with you the whole time. So as wonderful as any present you got this morning was, as much fun as you're going to have, a long time ago, even before things began, God had planned to give you the greatest present in the world. He was with God in the beginning, right? He was with God in the beginning, and God had planned to give Jesus to you. And that's the gift of Christmas today. And he says that if you just receive it, that gift is yours. Now, anybody leave any presents under the tree? Anybody plan on just leaving a present with their name on it under the tree? Just going to leave it there and never open it up? I got kids in my house that'll fight you about that, all right? Can you imagine? There's a nice big present under the tree, and it's got your name on it, and you know what? We'll just leave it right there. Don't you want to open that? Nah. Nah, don't worry about it. We'll just leave it there. We'll just walk by it over and over again. It's nice and shiny. It's got a big bow on it, right? It looks really great. Nah, don't want it. There's no way, right? You be begging, Mom and Daddy, can we get in it? Can we open it? Can we open it? Can we open it? How many of you asked to open presents early over the last few weeks? Yeah. Yeah. At my house, we've been asking for months, it seems like. All day long. Can we just open one present? Can we just open one? Can we just open one? Can we just open one? Now here's this present. It's the greatest present in the world. It's been brought to you by a God who loves you very much. And he says, if you will just receive and believe, you will be my child. And I don't just want to send you on your way with a map and a flashlight, but I want to walk every step with you. Jesus came in the flesh to be our Savior, to be our Lord, to be our friend, to be our family. That's a wonderful gift. In the book of 1 John, John says, no one has seen God. He's kind of quoting himself from the Gospel of John. He says, no one has seen God. No one has seen God. So we haven't seen God, right? It says in John, he says, but we've seen Jesus, right? So that's like seeing God. And then in 1 John, he says, no one has seen God. He said, but when we love one another, God's love is made complete in us. Now, you know what that means? That means that people haven't seen God, but the way that we love and treat one another, that will show God to other people. Now that's crazy, right? That people will see God by how you treat one another, by how I treat my family, by how I treat my friends, by how I treat strangers in the world. They will know God. They will see God. So now, we've been given a great light. The opportunity for us now as we go from here is to take that light out into the world and to demonstrate love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and gentleness and faithfulness and self-control as we go. You take the light that's been given to you and you take it out into the world, all right? Hey, kids, you shine the light, all right? You remind your parents, hey, don't be fussing like that. We're supposed to be loving one another, all right? You remind your parents, by the way, that you clean up your room and you clean up the trash from the stuff. When mama tells you to do something, you say, yes, ma'am, right away. When daddy tells you to do something, you say, hi, right? You go to school, you work hard so other people see that you are working not just for the teachers and not just for your parents, but you're working for the Lord, and it's worth it, right? You shine a light into the world. When somebody's being mean to another kid, you go up and you take care of them. You be nice to them, right? You take up for them. You don't bully other people. You show love. You show kindness. You show care for other people. You be a light. You show your parents the way to go, okay? Because Jesus has shown us, and he's not just shown us, but he is with us every step. And so even when it's scary to stand up and to show your light in public, even when it's scary to stand up for somebody who's being picked on, remember Jesus is there for you. And anytime the enemies would come against you and would try and pick on you, Jesus is right there for you. He went to the cross for you. He stood up and he went to the cross for you. Not afraid of what they would do to him, but willing to do it for you because he loved you. And so now as you go from here, you shine your light, all right? Shine your light. Everybody, hey kids, say shine your light. Shine your light. One more time, say shine your light. All right, now adults, y'all play with us. Shine your light. Everybody, shine your light.